Good evening. How was your daily life today? You are stressed? I'm joking. Yeah. Anyway. Boy. What is that? Everybody listen to me carefully. What is that? Anyway. We are all the beings, seven, as no one wants to soften, everyone they wish to happiness. All the beings, seven, right? Then we also scared the suffering. When Buddhism talk about law norms, then we also scared that. And we also scared to soften to samsara. Anyway. Then many beings, they're scared the soften, but they doesn't know who they do refuge, where they find refuge. And even many beings doesn't know what's refuge. Therefore, we are Buddhism. When we start to any practice, we start to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Most texts at the beginning they start. And why we do Buddha, Dharma, Sangha? In the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. But then we scared for softens all samsara and lorums. Then we look who helped to us to free from the softens. Then we check. If you refuge someone, they have to power to protect for who he or she refuge for them. Then, for example, when we have something problem in this country, they go to court, then they refuge for lawyers. They believe that lawyers have power to win, right? We believe. Then it doesn't refuge for other people. We always looking for lawyers, right? Because we know lawyers have power to then now our suffering is to samsara. Always we don't want any suffering, that all suffering is always coming. Then we check, now who has power to protect to us to suffering? Then this is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Because Buddha is complete, free from all the sufferings. Then he has power to protect for us, show us to how you free from all the sufferings. Therefore, we protect we refuge for Buddha. Then we refuge for Dharma. Dharma is real tool, real tool to free from the suffering is Dharma. Usually we call it the real Dharma is, the path. When the person understands emptiness directly, this can't.
The wisdom relies on emptiness.
But we have not that kind Dharma, but we have to, keep the 10 virtues.
The practice of 3 trainings.
We have also generosity and ethic, or anyway. That kind of
since we have that morality of abandoning 10 virtuous actions and so forth, so that can act as the Dharma refuge in our minds. And so the actual Dharma refuge, will be a wisdom relies in emptiness, and the cessation, the true cessation, within the continuum of those who have realized emptiness directly. So that's because right now we're experiencing all this suffering because of not knowing, because of the ignorance and not knowing the reality. So when we come to understand the reality, the emptiness, then that becomes actual refuge to protect us from all the sufferings. And so right now we're under the control of our mind, and our mind is under the control of the delusions, and because of that we experience all these unceasing sufferings. And so because of this ignorance, and because of not knowing or ignorance, we experience all these physical and mental sufferings. So right now, as ordinary beings, we don't have that, that realization, the actual Dharma refuge, the realization of the direct emptiness and direct realization of emptiness and so forth. But we do have other, practices such as the morality of abandonment, 10 virtuous action, or practice of generosity and so forth. So these can be also a Dharma refuge.
Then, what did it? And that Buddha Dharma Sangha said, when they Sangha did, that nobody will go to Kanatala, Sangha.
And then the third object of refuge, the Sangha, is a being or person who have realized emptiness directly.
당연도 대개마다 다 진소 개마다 간제 다 되게 잡으로 간제 가서 다 추적에 따로 가주정을 같이 되는 거가 이렇게 줘서
so even if we don't have someone who have realized emptiness directly around us, but anybody who helps us, who helps us to do our practice, can be considered as a sangha.
대단 가서 껴서 사제라 죽담바고 아니 걔들라 짝집에 따르고 아니 다 줄라 다 짝무에서로
And so when we take refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we see the Buddha as the teacher or the founder of the refuge, and the Dharma as the actual refuge, and Sangha as an assistant, assisting in our practice.
간에 담아서야돼 딱 간단하게 막 가지고 샤지고서 딱 샤지고서 이제 좀 어떤 또 시작하면서 보인다 가서 뒤질라 로테 뛰어와이나 딱 강가대 눈을 잡아봐 용을 잡아봐 이거야 다 주문에 되래서
so like I said, the actual Dharma is actual Dharma is wisdom, enlightenment, emptiness, the bodhicitta, compassion, and so forth, because whoever has those qualities such as compassion and so forth in their mind, they will be free from suffering. So therefore, the actual the refuge is the Dharma refuge. And so in disease, we do need a doctor, we need a medicine, we need a nurse to help us to take the medicine and so forth. But the actual, among these three, the actual one that cures our disease is the medicine, right? So the Buddha, is like the teacher, who teaches us the path, shows us what is right, what is wrong, and so forth. And the Sangha is the one who helps us to do our practices. And actually, it is the Dharma that actually frees us from all these sufferings.
Right. Buddha put all the maps to go Buddhahood, all the maps, the same, path. He put the GPS. You need to know how you use, right? If you push the wrong button, you go to the wrong way, wrong direction. Today, today, around quarter and so on, and jig it, that they let you up in the conscious of your machine, that was just over this.
And so first we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha by having kind of fear towards the sufferings, especially of the organs, and then seeing that Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha have the power to protect us from this suffering, then we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
Right. Sometimes we talk about Buddhism, always talk about sufferings. Some people say, what's wrong with Buddhism? They always talk suffering. But it doesn't know reality. The reality is always we have suffering. Because always we have something not success, right? We want something that doesn't work. Whatever we want, whatever we say, it doesn't work. Whatever we think, but it doesn't work. They all become suffering. Then sometimes people say, what Buddhism is wrong? They talk always suffering. But it doesn't say, it doesn't make you guys be everybody too scared to suffer. We say, explain to reality. Try to understand. And when we know, identify the suffering, then we have to wish to free from them. Then we're looking for what method, how you free from the suffering. No, we always teaching them. Then, what do we talk?
The suffering, refuge.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, refuge, yeah. 근데 다 나도 다 남바 얘다 매기지. 다 파스포르한테 다 장로에 그랬어. 지쇼로 도로지야지다. 못 잡아야지다. 근데 말이야. 가가지라 장로에나 가지고 가는 남발에 잠들면은 다시 잡에 죽으면서 거기에다 남아 자고 말해서.
So taking refuge in the three jewel, is like your identification, to identify you as a Buddhist. So whether you're Buddhist or not depends on whether you take refuge in the three jewels or not. You're not defined as a Buddhist, from the outside look. Just because you wear a red robe or shave your hair and so forth, it doesn't mean that you're a Buddhist. If you don't have refuge in your mind, if you don't take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha from your mind, then you're not Buddhist.
이게 조지 별배가야 아니 배외기 라마지 카발로 된 말이었다. 나만은 정말 너무 되고
And so that's why Lama Atisha, when he came to Tibet, he said, among the Tibetan lamas, there are so many of them who are actually facing down towards the audience and teaching about Buddhism, but they themselves are not Buddhist. And so, of course, in order to take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha, you have to know what are Buddha Dhamma and Sangha and what are their excellent qualities, which makes us to take refuge in the three jewels. So you have to learn about those excellent qualities. So if you understand their qualities and excellent qualities, then you will develop that convicting faith. So like the faith, not just a blind faith, but the faith that comes from conviction. So otherwise, you have faith because you heard such and such. Then if somebody else says something different, then you change your faith very quickly. And so that's why we always start the prayers, with the refuge, right? Taking refuge, like in the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha, take refuge and enlightenment and so forth. So you start the practice of the prayers, with taking refuge in the three jewels.
아니 대중들이야 상식바로 다른 잡으셨나 다 대양아치 semje 탐주거든 사디의 공부 마도 받을 땅에 잡수장이 정하나로 벗어 지에서 나도 semje를 되어오는 거죠.
So you say I take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha until I'm enlightened. And so it says I'm going to take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha until I achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So when you think about achieving enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, then that shows the bodhicitta, the altruistic attitude, wanting to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So in order to benefit all beings, all sentient beings, may I become Buddha, or may I be enlightened and so forth. So that shows the bodhicitta. So the first two lines of the verse shows refuge, and the second two lines shows the bodhicitta. And so whether you are Buddhist or not is defined by whether you have refuge, whether you take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma and Sangha or not. And then among the two practices of the Buddha Dhamma, whether you are a Mahayana practitioner or not, is defined by whether you have bodhicitta in your mind or not. If you don't have bodhicitta, even if you do a retreat your whole life, your practice doesn't become Mahayana practice, it doesn't become a cause to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So whether you are a good practitioner or not depends on whether you are able to contemplate on the karmic law of cause and effect, the prophetic rebirth, the death and impermanence, and so forth. So if you are not doing that, then you don't become a good practitioner.
다른 가도 냠내지 로로 치네. 다른 가도 치. 다른 남세야지. 다른 가도 도해야 돼. 이 남세야지 간지 내주고 싸봐. 지마마비 가거든. 남지나 다들 남주 가서라고 했죠. 남주 가서.
So then, once you have started in the practice, you have to enter into the path to achieve the state of liberation or enlightenment. And so when you have entered into the path is when you have actually generated the renunciation, the actual renunciation in your mind. So the renunciation is a mind that wishes to achieve liberation, that wishes to achieve liberation from cycle existence, and especially from the lower realms. And so it's just like a prisoner will be always thinking about being free from the prison. It's always thinking, when can I be free? When can I be free from this prison? So that is the kind of mind you should have towards cycle existence or samsara.
Maybe the prisoner place very nice. Maybe they don't want to go this, they don't need to walk. They say, nice place, no need to walk. Anyway, it's a joke. What is it? 다들 나가서 람 망보지 지금 대맥을 람 자가시 제가 좀 올라간 거야. 다시 한번 손좀 시 돈 그것이 되었어.
So last time we talked about we've already talked about the Mahayana, the Hinayana path, right? The Hinayana path is the hearer's path, and then Sorted Glasses path. We have talked about that already, and then we were talking about the Mahayana path. So in the Mahayana path, we have already talked about the path of realization, path of preparation, and we were talking about path of seeing now, right? You know what is the password for the PDF file for the solemn text?
It's on. Oh no, I have.
It's in an email.
I might go to email too.
Yeah, it wasn't an email ages ago.
No, it's maybe someone.
I did it last time, but I don't remember now.
That's anyway. We are when we achieve enlightenment, we have to go to all the. We have to go all the paths. What about?
I have the commentary and everything here if you need it.
You have to do it.
I think the password is Salem, S-A, and then capital L-A-M.
And on our website? Off of our website?
Capital L?
A.M. Salam.
Salam, capital S, and then capital
Sa
L.
is small and lam. Oh, sa. Beginning of sa is big S,
Big
little
S.
a, big L, little a, little m.
I think that may be the password.
Okay, let me try one more time.
Good, anyway.
So it's a small S, right?
No,
Big S. Big
Big
S.
S, small a, big L, small a, small a. Just capitalize sa and capitalize lam.
Really?
Yeah.
So big S, one, a small A,
Yeah.
and then big L.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what she said. Right?
I'm not sure.
That's what she said.
So there is the add, what is that, the add sign?
Then
There's a somewhere there.
I have no idea.
good.
Don't you have it memorized, don't you?
Yeah, I used it last time, but I forgot now.
Yeah. Even I remember this, now I forget. Even I read text, sometimes doesn't
Yeah.
know how you write.
It's getting rusty.
Yeah. This will be same as Yaki, pick up the mouse. Yaki, right?
The yak.
Yeti.
Yeti.
Oh, Yeti.
Yeah. Yeti pick up the mouse. I think Burma mouse, how they pick up. Do you know Yeti, how you pick up the mouse? You know Yeti?
고생해.
Yeti, the
Yeti.
Tremo.
CT sim.
This is similar one, Yeti. 코치모로와 직선들 나중에는 코치모 복부를 한데 주로 야 직선들 정말 코치라 찍을 수 있는 동안 코치모 효로 I told this many times, you guys know it. Yeah.
I don't
Somebody
think I ever
explain
heard
it?
this one.
Who knows it? Explain it.
I never heard this one.
Really?
The Yeti catches
So the
some
Yeti
mice
catches the mouse? Never heard of it.
and puts them under his arm,
Yeah.
and then catches another to put it, and then does the first one get away?
Get away.
Yeah.
Because he's very big,
Oh, because they get away.
too lazy, then he have to move. Therefore, same. I memorized all the texts, then I studied one, then before one I forget.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the leaky pot.
Yeah, you keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Howard, I forgot my glasses, so I can't read them.
Okay.
Thank
So take mine.
Yeah,
No, you
right.
take, I can show.
Just take one. Somebody
Yeah, that's
take
right.
one.
Here's the
It's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Howard.
Do you want me to draw?
Oh, okay.
this is the text, right?
Yeah, the commentary's in the back.
Sure, the back.
But I didn't put like a
Alright.
thumb tab. You'll find it.
That's good. So generally there are, 15 paths, right? 3 times 5, 15 paths. You all know that, right?
Yeah.
So this time we're talking about the 5 paths of the Mahayana vehicle, right? So then all those 5 paths, we have already talked about the ordinary paths of the Mahayana vehicle, and so right now it's sort of time to discuss about the Arya or the superior path, the superior Mahayana path, Mahayana superior path. And then the Mahayana superior path has 3, right? The path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of number learning. And so among these 3, so we're talking about the path of seeing. And in the path of seeing, there are 2, right? The meditative equipoise and the subsequent attainment, right?
Yeah.
Arsatila. Namjay is the new one. The meditative equipoise, and then the subsequent attainment, and then neither of those 2, right? So then the first one, which is the meditative equipoise, which has 2 or 3 actually also, right? The uninterrupted path, the path of release, and then neither of those 2. So we've gone through all those 3 already, right? And today we're going to talk. We're going to start from talking about the subsequent attainment.
I forgot my text today.
Who found the
Page.
It's a bad text karma day.
Yeah, anyway. It's okay.
It should be on page 22 or 23.
Yeah, it is on page 21, 22, 23. So
You guys have to close your eyes to remember all the, what is that? Definitions. When we started the monastery, we have to watch the teacher's face. We cannot look at the text. He said, oh, no.
I thought we should sing all of them.
인연을 더 많았었는데 다들 도망을 열심히 와서라 내가 대신 도망을
뭐는 데서
신발제 가로
I think it's page 23.
Yeah, so definition is under part of the first ground, the Satan Buddhism. 서든지 버시면 서담 버시면 들어요.
It's 27.
이 말을 when you are the another part of the seeing and another part of the 버시면 그 서담 버시면 토람 버시면 서담 뭐라 버시면 이라. 근데 이제는
토람 버시면 맞죠.
토람 버시면 서담 토람 버시면
Page 23, number 27.
That's what I thought.
Number 27. Page
We're looking for
23.
Jito, right?
yeah, that's not there.
27. That's not that.
Here
Here it is. It's on page 24 at the bottom. Definition of an exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the first ground.
서담 뭐라?
Yeah.
서담 뭐지 뜻이? That's on the page 24, yeah.
Yeah.
So number 32. A clear realization of the truth of the Mahayana, which has arisen from path of release, of the first ground, and which has become manifest in the continuum of a person who possesses that in her continuum.
이거 다 사도 뭐 받체면은 넘버는 네가 똥바지 안 넘어서 되게 예초 똥바지면서 다 셴바도 소 시다 샤쇼도 셈다 니도 여다도 또 당연히 되시. 지금 바로
So during the first grounds, the uninterrupted and the path of release, the person is meditating on emptiness. That the emptiness is the main object of their meditation, of their focus, right? And so it is the emptiness, the mind realizing emptiness that is manifesting all the time. So the other minds like bodhicitta, generosity, and so forth in their mind, but it's not manifesting.
배나 맞아 니 퀴드가 맞아 니 퀴드 갑라야 맞아 게다 니 시바드면서 시바시마도 동행 저거 말았어.
So for example, like when we are sleeping, only our sleep consciousness is manifesting, but other consciousness are not manifesting, right?
이나 맞아 시바시마도 봐야 되대요. 몇몇 뭐 말아.
But we do have other consciousnesses in our mind, right? It's not that they kind of become non-existent.
I think maybe no, when Anne she come back, maybe she doesn't believe to, 대신 또 빠진 문제라.
So when Anishi comes back, she will not accept that there is a bodhicitta in the continuum of the Bodhisattva on the uninterrupted path of the policy.
그래서 나 건속이 딱 2차 샤사도 다시 레볼루션이 2차는 다 됐고 건속 굉장히 많고 건속이 난 레와제도 가만히 있어요.
So that's because they follow the text from Devon Losaling, and then the text in Devon Losaling explains that there is no bodhicitta in the mind, in the continuum of Bodhisattva on uninterrupted path of seeing. And of course, it sounds different, but they have different explanation for that.
And definitely you guys to debate for us. Anyway, 대리자 간제 딱 나도 니 세네 쇼게하라면 나도 그래 딱 드린 거 액션 시바강은 기억을 왔어.
And so then after, when we wake up in the morning, then all other consciousnesses will manifest, will come up, right?
어때도 지금 남도나를 나왔나? 다 동반이나 냠자를 지나가려고 그러더라.
And so when they so just in like when you wake up from the sleep, and so here it says like the Mahayana which has arisen from the path of release, of the first ground. So when you in your meditation, you're in a meditation on emptiness during the path of release, and when you come out of that.
어디지? 근데 다 사통비 제다 시당 다 돌아지듯이 되지 예스와 시당 사통벌이 와서 시당 사통벌이 와서 얘나 제다시 찍으지 마.
And so when you are in the path of in the subsequent attainment, then the first ground, then you come out of that meditation. And he says here, an exalted wisdom, the exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the first ground and an exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the Mahayana path of seeing are mutually inclusive.
Maybe this roads path maybe we still got to go. Maybe same as India roads, bombs, they always stack there. 어디지? 근데다 되지. 다 주도 다 제다시 되게 내가 와고서 와서
So you understand the definition of the exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the first ground? Did you understand that?
Okay. 다 대신 돈을 제도시다 녀저시 가르마이 것이 그래서 봐요.
So there is the Mahayana path of seeing, which is neither an exalted wisdom of the meditative equipoise nor an exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment.
Okay. 다 녀지 걸면 가져나 대신 돈을 다시 말하듯이 그소세시다 대지지 남에게 두고 나 제도비지 돈이 두고 다 녀저시 말 제도시 말해서.
So that mind, which is neither of these meditative equipoise nor the subsequent attainment, is a conventional mind of enlightenment, right? In the continuum of one who is on the uninterrupted path, not the Mahayana path of seeing.
Okay? 다 저거잖아요. 대신도 제도비지 대신도 받침을 그소세시대 상식을 센데 가르치는 녀저시 말이나 좀 갈라서.
So the conventional mind of enlightenment, which is same as saying bodhicitta, okay? So the conventional mind of enlightenment and bodhicitta, they are same. So let's say, so the bodhicitta in the continuum, in the mind of a bodhisattva on uninterrupted path, the path of seeing, is not exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise of the first ground, and is neither that nor the exalted wisdom of the subsequent attainment of the first ground. Right? Why is that?
Why not? Okay, maybe Eric. You have answer?
I have no idea.
Oh, he's very honest person. Okay, Andy, you know it.
I think because it's not a direct realization of emptiness, right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
But what I don't understand is if on the uninterrupted path, you should be in equipoise, like meditation on emptiness, right?
Yeah.
So how can the conventional bodhicitta be manifest? Does it
It's
mean
not manifesting, but it's there.
just there?
So it's
like the dormant. So this will follow for any kind of dormant mind.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so not only bodhicittas, any
Yeah.
other type.
Yeah, all the, I told you, when we sleep, we have all the other minds there, but
Right.
it doesn't work then.
Yeah.
Same, Bodhicitta is still there, but they're not only minds, right?
So any kind of path, not any kind of mind, but path, right?
Yeah.
So if you say mind, then there's a delusion
Yeah,
also there.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you say path,
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah,
a
that's
clear
it.
realization.
Yeah.
It has to be a clear realization. If it's the deluded realization, then it's a mind, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're talking about the first ground or the path of seeing. It's a path of seeing, but it's not the exalted wisdom of the meditative equipoise, nor the exalted wisdom of the subsequent attainment. So something, neither of those two, but which is a path of seeing. So then we talk about the bodhicitta in the continuum of the bodhisattva on an uninterrupted path. Is the path of seeing, but is not meditative equipoise nor the subsequent attainment.
Okay. You guys understand that? 동반이 강사들이 동반이 응했을 때 가디 또바나 사들은 돌아가시는 것처럼 와서 동반이 강사들이 동반이 응했을 때 가디 또바야.
So when the person comes to understand or realize emptiness directly, that time the person becomes a practitioner of bodhisattva on the path of seeing, right? The moment he or she first realizes emptiness directly is the moment when the person becomes a bodhisattva on the path of seeing, right?
대례는 참말라 대릴로 그 강사들이 내가 끝나다 배워서 그러서 아니.
And so that realization of direct realization of emptiness, what destroys or eliminates what innate grasping at the true existence or grasping at the self, right?
배는 남수 뒤지라 다 담보 금방 나꾸기 받는 것도 지금 마음에로 받나 다 나꾸도 고라니 봐 예로 보았어.
So, for example, when the room is dark, and then when you turn on the light in the dark room, when you turn on the light in the dark room, the darkness will be dispelled, right? Will disappear, right?
what the little child. The day that in Sonopajam, Tumban and Yama Shade, the day the other Kadipana, Ali Kaza, Loti, that number of stars, Loti, number of stars.
So that destroys, serves as an antidote to the innate, to the intellectual grasping at true existence, right? And so that serves as an antidote. So whenever that overcomes, whenever that intellectual grasping as a true existence, an inherent existence is overcome, is completely destroyed, then you achieve the path of release. Right? And so when you achieve the path of release, that's the cessation, that's the true cessation. The path of release is the true cessation. So that's the first time you achieve true cessation. So both uninterrupted path and the path of release, you are meditating during that time. You are meditating on emptiness. So you are in meditative equipoise on emptiness. And so when he arrives in that meditation on emptiness, then he's no longer meditating on emptiness, right? He's engaging in some other kinds of activity other than engaging in meditation on emptiness. And so that, during any kind of the clear realization, any kind of path in that person's mind, after one has arisen from the emptiness, from the meditation on emptiness, and that is called subsequent attainment, the exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment. So you understand that, right? How it falls in the process.
Eric, do you got it?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to help my mind, what is being released? It seems to me that once you started on the path of seeing, you realize by definition you realize emptiness.
Directly.
Correct. Directly, rather than just conceptually. You can read a definition, but
That's
you don't
right,
really
yeah.
see it directly. So what is it that's being released? Why is the path named release? What is being given up or shed?
So released from grasping at true existence.
Oh, so it's the meditator that's released, so liberated.
Yeah,
Well, it means like free.
Yeah.
Release means free. So you don't have that grasping anymore. So you are free from that grasping. So we talked about the intellectual grasping, right, and innate grasping. So you still have the innate grasping, but you are free from the intellectual grasping.
But not free from the innate grasping.
Not from the free, not from the innate one.
Just it'll come later.
Okay.
You got it?
Thank you.
You got it?
Thank you.
You got
I'm
it?
starting to. Thank you.
Thinking, okay. This is meditation. If you miss the one part, then you always confused. What's going on? If you doesn't miss one by one, you say, oh, that makes sense. Everybody first here, then second, then they come. You just be thinking, just be meditation. You say, yeah, first this card, then yeah, that, then that. You just really make sense. You understand? If you miss one, then you have something missing. Then you doesn't know what's going on. So, Eric, he said, I'm not idea. He's very honest person. Anyway, okay. 다 제도시 많이 받아보지. 다 대제 돈을 제도 배치지 돈인에서 또 별로 돼요. 다 제도 시험 말이 여러시 말 가르나 비결을 좀 봐도 저희도 수준도 냐면 제도가 다야 돈인에서 또 별로 돼 제도가 말했어요. 그게 예예래서.
And then it gives a different example here. Says, so he says also the mind of Bodhisattva and an exalted wisdom that realizes that realizes in direct perception the selflessness of a person in the continuum of one who is on the another path of the Mahayana path of seeing, and then there's exalted knower, realizing emptiness in direct perception in the continuum of Bodhisattva, abiding in the exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the Mahayana path of seeing. So these are also, not subsequent path or subsequent attainment or the meditative equipoise.
The what? Who gives the answer? No idea?
Maybe last week we talked about it already. What did we say?
Right? 제답이지. 돈은 제답이지. 돈이 것도 또 올라오지. 제답이지. 말했어요.
And so wisdom realizes emptiness directly within the continuum of the Bodhisattva on the meditative, post-meditative equipoise, right? Or or subsequent attainment, on the path of subsequent attainment. So if you, it's not exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment. It's not the exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise. Also.
Because you can't go back. We said last week, like the Parche Melam only happens like the first time. It's the first time that you're entering.
But that was the first one.
The direct realization, this one here, right? An exalted knower realizing emptiness in direct perception in the continuum of a bodhisattva abiding in exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the Mahayana path of seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means because even though he's having, let's see, he's realizing emptiness in directly realizing emptiness, that bodhisattva, he's already completed the...
No, he has the direct realization of emptiness, right?
But he's already passed the Parche Melam and Namdrolong.
This is not reason.
That's not the reason.
There's no other reasons. Yeah.
Can you just ask the question again?
Yeah.
So, well, in a simple word, this is the text. In the text, it's not. I don't know. I find it complicated in the text, but to say it easily, so the Bodhisattva who was meditating, now he's out of meditation, right? He's no longer meditating, but he has realization of emptiness, right? Directly.
Right,
So he has that direct realization of emptiness in his mind. So that direct realization of emptiness in his mind when he's not meditating is not a subsequent attainment. It's not a meditative equipoise, right? So that's what he's saying. So why, the Geshe-la's question is, why is it not the exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment? So that realization, that direct realization of emptiness within the continuum of Bodhisattva on a post-meditative equipoise is not a subsequent attainment. Why is it?
So he's in equipoise again after...
He's not in equipoise. He has the realization.
So
he realizes emptiness directly, right?
Yeah, but isn't that just like...
He's not meditating. He's not meditating at this time.
This is the question I have. Like, for the subsequent attainment, does it mean, like, you're not actually realizing emptiness again and again all the time, but you know that you have? So is it like the knowledge that you have, but not really a direct knowledge? Do you know what I mean? Like, the direct realization...
No, you have a direct realization.
But all the time?
Yes, all the time.
So it stays with you even
So
when you're out of meditation.
it's just that manifesting or not manifesting.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Yeah. So this is...
For
back to
example,
that,
right now you focus this Buddha, you know you bet, right?
I know what?
You bet.
I'm bad?
No, you house, you bet.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Right? But 단단처럼 저 롱에 제대로 가서 배셔야 되구나. 그러자 이건 제대로 왔어. 이거 자들처럼 있다. 마음에서 또 불러 들어왔어.
Understand?
Yeah.
You got it good. That's example. 다 듣는 돈을 제대로씩 돈이 또 올라오지. 다 제대로씩 가르치는 말이에요.
So that's the simple, right? So the wisdom realizing emptiness directly, in the continuum of a bodhisattva or the post-meditative equipoise is not exalted wisdom of the post-meditative equipoise. Why?
Yeah, come on, yeah. Give me that. Then you not.
We have to look again at the definition.
Yeah.
We have to look at the definition of the post-meditative equipoise. So.
When master the monks they hold the mala to this is okay. Give me answer.
Because it says it should, the subsequent attainment should be manifest in the continuum of the person. should be manifest, it says. It says the definition of exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the first ground is a clear realization of the truth of the Mahayana, which has arisen from a passive relief of the first ground, which is fine, that's the same for this person, and which has become manifest in the continuum of a person who possesses that in their continuum. So because it's not manifest, then it's not.
Which
right?
is not manifest?
The one we are talking about now.
Which one is that?
The one here, an exalted knower realizing emptiness in direct perception in the continuum of a bodhisattva abiding in exalted wisdom of subsequent attainment of the Mahayana path of seeing. Right? And he said, like, it's not manifest. Like, I know my bed at home, but since I'm focusing on the text, my knowledge of the bed at home is not manifest, right?
It's not at the forefront, but it's still there. That's a simple way of saying it's just not at the forefront. It's still there, but it's just not at the forefront.
Yes.
So
I
that's
understand
the answer
that.
to the Geshe-la's question?
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Okay.
Everybody,
You understand that?
Yeah.
So what is that?
Well, it's just not at the forefront, but I have
Yeah.
some questions. It's not manifest, not manifest, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting here focusing on this, but I still love my son. Even though I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah. That's true.
anybody got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is some little tricky
So
question.
you have to understand the definition. You have to go back to the definition.
Definition is very important.
Just like NDD, he checked the definition, and in the part of the definition it says it has to be manifest in the continuum. So yeah, because that's not manifesting. What is manifesting at that time? In the post-meditative equipoise, other kinds of mind, right? Like the practice of generosity, other things. Those are manifesting. So the wisdom that's emptiness is not manifesting. So it has to manifest in order for it to be the subsequent attainment, the wisdom, the exalted wisdom of the subsequent attainment. And so because it's not manifesting, therefore it's not that.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and understand, really check thoroughly every part of the definition.
Yeah, you know the definition, understand, then very easy to not confuse. If you doesn't not very sure the definition, then very easy confuse. That is very similar things. Okay. Now this, then it that gets that kind of get it. That kind of get that load kind of get it. Na that is those.
So the next is part. It says how Mahayana grounds are produced.
Okay.
How they are generated in the mind of the practitioner.
담보 강사들 게랑 내주 삼반남 샤지고 샘지 샘백 내주 남께나 다 통합 시오래 강사 통합 작성해 봤어.
So the exalted wisdom of the great supreme mundane's quality of the path of the preparation of the mind, that is made equipoise, one point of the success and the suchness, and then another part of the because,
아시게다 때는 뭐 단된 거짓말이다. 근데 취미라 뜻이니 뭐 저는 취주미 이시 뜻이 통합 받지 말라. 뜻이 통합 넘어라. 여자 뜻이 되죠. 그랬다. 내가서 찔러야 가가대. 담배지 뜻이 찔러 가면 그래서요.
So this is the exalted wisdom of the great supreme mundane, quality of the path of preparation. Now the Mahayana, that is a meditative equipoise, one pointedly on suchness, and an uninterrupted path of the path of seeing, and of the Mahayana, and a path of release of the path of seeing of the Mahayana are generated in one session of meditative equipoise.
다 녀마셔대 찔러 와서 그녀야 나가면 됐습니다. 녀마셔대 찔러야 돈 와서.
So they are all achieved in one meditative equipoise, right? One session of meditative equipoise.
But we need to know which ones when start, which one when start, right?
So which one is achieved when? You have to understand that, right? So this is the exalted wisdom of the great supreme mundane quality of the path of preparation of the Mahayana, that is meditative equipoise on one pointedly on suchness and suchness. So it is meditating on emptiness, right? But it has not realized emptiness directly yet. So it's meditating on emptiness. He has realized emptiness, but not realized emptiness directly. So whenever he comes to, while meditating on it, when he comes to understand or realize it directly, then he becomes, the practitioner of the Mahayana path of seeing, and so achieve the first, part of the Mahayana path of seeing, which is the uninterrupted part of the path of Mahayana seeing, path of seeing of the Mahayana. And so then, the moment you come to understand or realize emptiness directly, then you become Arya being, or you become a Sangha jewel.
And
then all this realization, the paths within the continuum of that, the Sangha jewel, is called a Dharma jewel. And so that direct realization of emptiness becomes an antidote to the intellectual grasping at true existence. And so with that, whenever he comes to abandon that intellectual grasping at true existence, then he achieves the path of release of the Mahayana, the path of release of the path of seeing of Mahayana. And so the moment he achieves the Mahayana path of release of the path of seeing of the Mahayana, and then he achieves the true cessation. So once he has abandoned the delusions that are corresponding to that path, then he comes out of meditation, comes out of that meditative equipoise. So that like here says that following that, so after the meditation, once you have overcome that delusion, the intellectual grasping of true existence, and following that, an exalted wisdom or subsequent attainment of the path of seeing of the Mahayana is generated. And then following that, says the exalted wisdom or subsequent attainment of the path of seeing of the Mahayana path is generated. Following that, the exalted wisdom of the meditative equipoise is the first ground, which is neither of the two. So the exalted wisdom of the meditative equipoise of the first ground, which is neither of two. So neither of two of what?
The Nyamsha or the Jito?
No, here we're talking about the meditative equipoise, right? Of the first ground, which is neither of those two. So it means like neither uninterrupted path nor the path of release, right? So that is generated.
Okay.
And so, so it says here that following that, the exalted wisdom of the meditative equipoise is the first ground, which is neither of the two, the uninterrupted path of the first ground, or the path of release of the first ground, is generated. And so neither of those two. So you go into meditation on emptiness. You are meditating on it because it's meditative equipoise, right? It's the exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise. So it has to be meditating on emptiness. And then following that, then after that, then the uninterrupted path of meditation. So before it was the uninterrupted path, the path of seeing of the first ground. Now it is the uninterrupted path, the path of meditation of the first ground that is generated.
Okay, confused? Very confused.
The uninterrupted path of the path of meditation for the first ground.
First ground, yeah.
So it became the uninterrupted path because now re-meditating on it after you already have Jeto, the subsequent attainment, you've already abandoned the intellectual grasping, so now you are working on the innate. That's why it's a path of meditation.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going on path of meditation. You're moving up from the path of seeing to the path of meditation now. So when you move up, you move from meditative equipoise to meditative equipoise.
Yeah.
다 된들 해체해야 돼. 가서 끝나서 되는 거 라이 봐. 다 전대하고 무슨 봐. 전대하고 디파트먼트입니다. 전대하고 고사다 좀 무슨 말이야? 네, 끝다.
So you understand that the intellectual grasping at true existence and inner grasping at true existence, right? The difference. So the intellectual grasping at true existence is grasping at true existence because of being influenced by tenets or by schools of thought. So because you have such and such view, this is like that. So because of that, influenced by that, then you say yes, it's like that. So you grasp at the true existence because of that. So that's called the intellectual.
다 해체해야 돼. 다 모두 깨어서 예와 다 같이 말이 봐. 미시가 뭐 그렇지. 해체해야
And then the innate, is the one that's from there's there since we were born, right? Without having influenced by any kind of thoughts or any kind of schools. You just have that grasping at true existence. That's called the innate grasping at true existence.
다 사탐보 써야 돼. 사탐보 고마 받지만 가서 담보 쓰려고 사치되겠어.
And so then when we talk about the ground, now earlier we were talking about the path, and there are 5 parts of the Mahayana vehicle, and then now there are 10 grounds in the Mahayana vehicle. So the 10 grounds, that's from the first to the 10th ground.
아니 곰팡 사이에 있어. 사만이 같으니까 곰팡도 자고 그래서 지나갔다. 사주에다 그 곰팡을 주시면 그러세요. 사주셔야 돼. 사주만 사주로 사주는 곰팡을 주셔야 해서.
Under shadow.
So
So the 10 abandonments, the 10 abandonments in the path of meditation. So during the path of meditation, you abandon these 10 abandonments. So that's why there are 10 paths, or 10 grounds, because you have 10 abandonments to abandon.
세상 공방 달랐다 시도 다다 깨어나 지금 다다가 투루를 지니까 죽은 데죠.
So actually there so the obstruction to knowledge, 108 obstruction to knowledge, but all these are kind of condensed or combined into the 10.
Yeah, therefore we need to 108. No, I'm not joking. It's not the reason. No, it's not the reason. Otherwise, if I lie here, then they lie go to many what's that, many places, 다 사주에도 와서 사통부 권한받치는 사통부 팅을 했어요. 대다 다 댄서 해체해야 되라. 뭐 치주 처럼 숨쉬를 전부 링충 숨쉬를 했을 때 해체다.
So the inner grasping at true existence. So that is kind of divided into first into 3, right? So there's a small, there's a medium, and then there's a great. Grasping, the inner grasping at the true existence, the small inner grasping at true existence, the medium inner grasping at true existence, and great grasping at true existence.
다 되어야 첨보라야 주리체선, 리드라야 주리체선, 주리체선 주리체선이라고 그래서.
So now there are 9 of them. So these 3 are divided. Each of them are divided into 3 again. So the small is a small, medium, small, great. And then medium has the small, medium, medium, and medium, great. And then the great one has the small, great, medium, great, and great, great. So there's like 9.
Now we need to 10, right? Because 10 such a was good, not 2 was.
So we need 10, right? So we need 1 more.
Right. 다들 손 상관이야. 제목 것은 드리고도 주고도 주 것은 다 그걸 식을 봐서요. 다못 봐서는 제목 것은 잘 봐.
And so, 주디가리스.
주디다가도 첨보들 다 첨보를 꽂으면 와. 대가 첨보들은 다 참으리다. 라빠니 잡으려. 라빠니 잡으면 되게 쫓아가거든.
So so there are 10 abandonments, right? So now we talked about 9, right? So the small, medium, and the great. So the small is 3, great, medium 3, and then great is 3. So the great. So here we're talking about in terms of the abandonment. When we're talking about it in terms of the abandonment, the delusions that are to be abandoned, and when we talk about the great delusion, that's more gross delusion. And when we talk about the small delusion, that's talking about the subtle delusions. So the grosser are more easier to abandon than the subtle ones. And so when we talk about the great, it's talking about the gross ones. And so those which are more easy to understand, more easy to perceive, and easy to tackle with. And so the first one, which is now when we talk about abandonment, we talk about the great, it's the first one. And the great medium, it's a little subtler, and then great smaller is even more subtle. And then we go down to the middle like that. So the first one, the great, has 2 now. The great, subtle, and then great, gross, and great, subtle. And so great, gross, great, subtle, there are 2 now, right? And then there are 8 of them, right? So the great, medium, great, small, and then the medium, great, medium, small, and the small, great, small, medium, small. So that way you have 10.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So like, he said it in the order of great, medium, and small, but then when he said in English, he said small, medium, and great. So I'm just curious, like the counting from the grounds, moving up from 1 to 10, are you starting with great?
Yes.
So that's the Bangja Chirim, because of Bangja Chirim, because of Lam Shumim Senjeva. So now that's what we're talking about. Like when you talk about the ground, so when you talk about the ground, so the ground you go from small to big.
Okay.
So the first one is the lower one, and then you become higher, and then greater and greater. You achieve. When you talk about the attainment, it is the small to great.
Yes, but
when you talk about the abandonment, then great to small.
Great to small.
Yeah. So gross to subtle,
and
then small to great. Like that.
So the first one is great, gross.
Yeah,
Great, gross. Yes.
No, that's his first delusion. That's not the first one that's abandoned.
Yes, abandonment. The first abandonment.
First thing to abandon, to be abandoned,
The
is
first
the
ground is small.
great, and gross delusions. They're really big and really rough, not so subtle.
Yeah, because same
So it's same, with the stain on our clothes, If it's big stain is easier to wash. If it's very subtle stain, can't even see, then it's harder to wash.
Okay. Lord said, Lord.
So the small ground corresponds to the great gross.
Yes.
That's what's abandoned. So there's a 1-to-1 correspondence between this.
Yeah.
What the ground?
The chenpo digi, then nyembo chenpo. Yeah, the gross, the bigger one, great one, is easier to abandon. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, then we can just all my
So after that is you fall in a similar way as before.
I think I'm telling you what you have to check it.
So so it's similar, to the path of seeing. The path of seeing as the meditative equipoise, and then the subsequent attainment. So then the meditative equipoise is undetermined path, then the path of release, and then neither of those two are same. In the first ground, in the second ground, third ground, like that.
And
so the first, the name of the first ground is called the very joyful, right?
That's the same thing.
So very joyful is like, you feel very joy, very strong joy, to benefit, to work for the benefit of sentience, to abandon the delusions and so forth. You're very happy to do that all the time. So that's why you call it very joyful. The one is called very joyful.
What that is the third is Charan Rapate, Rape, Chamber, Rapate Satu, Golampachana, and the Tramo the Sunny Bing Golampachana, and the Tati Chamber Sutra, 다 지대 지대 사스마치 중대 사실 얻어다 지기 치야 돼 아니 상황을 상 단디 배는 되는
And so the great growth is abandoned by the first, the ground, right? The first ground of the path of the uninterrupted path of the path of meditation of the first ground, right? And then the growth, the subtle, the great subtle, is abandoned by the second, the uninterrupted path of the path of meditation of the second ground. It abandons the gross subtle, and then the third ground, under the path, abandons the great medium, right? So the great medium, and then the fourth abandons the fourth ground, abandons the under the part of the fourth ground, abandons the small, the great small, and then the fifth ground abandons the great medium.
어떻게 다 지고선도 사드나 마셔. 봐. 요. 이 사제와 그와 좋으니 이 중고선.
And so the medium, great, medium, and medium small. So that's abandoned up to the seventh ground, right? So then the 8th, 9th, and 10th ground abandons the three small ones. The small, the great small, and then the medium small, and then small.
small 사치용 거지 맞아. 대남바는 아니 다 사기요래.
And then the small is abandoned by the uninterrupted path of the 10th ground. So whenever you abandon that, whenever you abandon the small, and then after abandoning that, with the uninterrupted path of the 10th ground, you achieve the path of release of the 10th ground. So the moment you achieve the path of release, and then you achieve the Buddhahood, enlightenment.
Right? Then finish. Then 사탕보 사교
사주베 남도 람담 밀로람 치고라 봐라.
사주베 다 나로란다 상대로.
남도 사주고라 봐요.
나로란다 상대로. 사주베 빠진 거. 사주베 나로란다 같이도 상대로.
밀로람 밀로요.
상대로.
So the path of release, of the 10th ground, goes into the path of non-learning. And so the moment you achieve the path of release, of the 10th ground, you achieve Buddhahood.
그래서 사지와 그와 중에서 다바사스면서 대면체가 마다사된서라고 그래서.
And so the first, so that these three paths, the three grounds, so the 8, 9, and 10 ground are called the pure grounds, and then others are called the impure grounds.
아니 다 마다사들은 유목을 응아비집 저마다 지어야 돼. 아니 마다사된서. 유목을 응아비 저마다 지금 유목을 저마다 유목이 시야로 돼서 휴체. 가지가도 보고 맞게 돼. 다 가지는다. 다 많이 나한테 꼭 저마로 해야 돼. 빼빼대. 응아비 저마서. 빼대로 가지 유목을 저마다 돼서 휴체. 다사 기업 많이 주는 때 매화도 다바사.
So there is and up to the 7th ground, you have some kind of the stain of the delusion. So it's called impure ground. So they call it the stain of the womb, that just gave birth to a child. So there's some kind of stain or order that remains after giving birth. To a child for a certain amount of time, and so it's similar to that.
아니 다 다른 토론 내사 대비 벌어가 다 같이 잡으신 거다 이발상 이래서 소름 졸라니까 다뭐 아니 고난의 사다 토론의 사대가 같이 이발 다 봐서 사 아니 같이 쓰면서 이상하게 그래서.
So it says that it takes 3 countless great eons to achieve enlightenment, right? So you have to accumulate merit, for 3 countless great eons. And it says so during the path of accumulation and path of seeing, you complete the first countless great eon, the accumulation of the merit for the first, the first countless great eon, and then during from the path of seeing up to the seventh ground, you complete the merit of the second countless great eon, and then during the three last grounds, the 8th, 9th, and 10th ground, you accumulate the merit of the third countless great eons.
Okay. 근데 산에서 벗었디 냠자 보이려고 그래서.
So moving from ground to ground is from meditative equipoise to meditative equipoise.
Okay. 근데 페니시 다더니 뒤에 올라 집어넣으면 뒤에 오더라 사실시와 파실하듯이 채워서 이거 주만하게 된 것도 있어요.
So then after that, it's similar to that anyway, so you can read that, right, yourself, page 26. The method of moving from ground to ground is the movement is from meditative equipoise to meditative equipoise, and so forth. So and then the fourth feature says the distinguishing feature. So that we'll discuss that from next week.
Okay, more confused? You're confused? It's okay. Yeah.
My question is about from which point. I mean, I've heard the terms like the bodhisattvas who cannot be turned back. There's some level where, from that point onward, there's no possibility that they slide, down. Mm-hmm. Where is it and why?
다 스미들은 또 남도가 나리고 그런 거예요. 공부도 못해 다 좋은 거다 또. 스미들 또. 다 상식 생겨야
So there's it's called the sign of non-returning. So when you achieve that, then you never go back. You don't return back to the lower path. So if you're a sharp faculty practitioner, then you achieve that in the path of preparation.
가지를 많이 하면 생주자를 그러고 다 생주자를 말하고 그냥 왜 생주자라고 다 제자가 그래서.
So the reason why you fall, is because you get discouraged. You don't think you'll be able to make it. You get discouraged, and that's why you fall back.
냠로에서 다시 어디 되는지 그래.
That's the reason.
Before the seventh round, is it possible that bodhisattva will? No. After first round, it's guaranteed.
대주도 제도에 다 바지 손은 지니 바지 마 님의 바지 매 손은 지니 손은 지니
From the middle of the
So you have medium part of accumulation. Small, medium, and great. So medium part of accumulation, you don't fall back.
Because he called that kind of bodhisattva was bodhisattva. 상식 생각다 세다 되시더라. 세대 너무 키니 딱 잘라 가려가지 않고 생고 많이 되지 매로.
So because that bodhicitta is called the gold-like bodhicitta. Bodhicitta like a gold. And so no matter where you put the gold, that will never change. No matter what you do, the gold remains gold all the time. So you will never become non-gold. So just like that. So bodhisattva on the second or the medium part of accumulation, from there, and the bodhicitta never changes. It always stays there.
Okay.
I have one other question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody else have?
Oh, yeah.
So in the Uttara Tantra, which we studied here before, it says that the 7th, 8th, is it the 7th? No, the 8th, 9th, and 10th ground bodhisattvas are also the conventional Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha jewels, or they are in Uttara Tantra. There is some way that they say those three level bodhisattvas can be called Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I just wondered if you would comment. I always was confused by that. So yeah. Like it says you can put the name, like you can attribute the name Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha to the 8th, 9th, and 10th Bhumi.
민 다쳐를 했어요.
다시 연대기 차는지나 다 다시 다쳐서 이나지지. 연대 그래. 뻔히 지나 많이 하면서 다 시제 전에 많이 냐버려서 지금. 시제 계속 전에 다들
So in terms of the knowledge, maybe they can be leveled as a Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, but in terms of the abandonment, because they have not abandoned all of it, therefore you cannot. But in terms of, from this perspective of knowing the things, like having the clairvoyance and so forth, and they can level them as Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Maybe that's what it's saying. I don't know. Not quite sure.
Yeah, I'll look again.
Yeah.
So I can show you the
yeah,
specific.
look again, then show me the text. Okay? Any other questions? You have some questions? Really?
Not tonight, no.
Then any other questions? You have some doubt? Not doubt. If you have some doubt, then they shows you don't understand. And whatever they talk, just keep going. Then really, not really going inside. And also, yeah, we don't have homework. Maybe next time I'll start to let homework. I always forget.
You can forget.
Really? Maybe if you do homework, it will be better. You guys, effort. Anything else?
No.
No? Really? Oh. Then maybe I'll give you one question. Then maybe not yet. Okay, then we stop. Finish. Anyway, it is very good. I don't know if you guys understand sense, maybe 80 and 80. This is a very high level to study Dharma. Not easy to understand. You have to lot of effort, thinking. The definition of the little bit makes big difference. If you miss a little bit, then you don't understand. Usually if you guys are very interested, memorize the definition is very important. Right? And usually the monastery, first they memorize the root text. After root text they finish, then they memorize the commentaries, definitions, or
You didn't memorize the whole root text?
Yeah, we have to.
Everyone?
Yeah, if valuable, you have to memorize all the root texts. And the root text, the participant is almost.
So yeah, the root text you can memorize.
But it's like 50 pages long.
No, this one is more like commentary.
Oh, it's like comment, I see.
Yeah, this one is a commentary. Like, the ornament of clear realization, there's a root text, and then there is the commentary to the first chapter, second chapter, third chapter, like that. So, you can memorize the root text, and from there you gain a lot of understanding, but then when you study the commentary, then you understand more. So it's in the commentary that it gives the actual definitions, not the root text. Root text only, explains in a few words,
It's
you
like
don't
a
understand all of
catechism.
it. So
It's like a catechism. It's just like the terms in a list
that's right.
that you can memorize. Yeah.
Yeah, even some monks, usually every year we have to exam the memorize. Some monks bring more than 1,000 pages, the longer ones, not the kind of longer ones, precise, big this much. They memorize. They have to recite one by one. Sometimes tricky monks, one monk, he's very smart. He read, backside, this guy. Usually we have to read this one, right? The Tibetan one, we have to read this one. He can read this way. Then when we go to exam, we have to show that who took the exam. In other Geshes, we have to give the test for him, then he just follow them and say, he took a couple of words, okay, said he a little bit the beginning word, then he said, okay, then he have to say a couple lines, no of them. Then he jumps to Abdurrahman. He bring, a lot of tests. The exam, Geshe doesn't know he did this. He came to
Upside down.
after time. After he just told me, he doesn't do a lot, but he shows his past, no, fair. He gives the answer. He said, oh, he just did this thing. He can do it. Otherwise, you have to he just follow that. Then no more difficult. You have to write down. not recite. They give some words, Buddha, Dharma, then you have to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and you have to read a couple of pages. And then they are all memorized. The reason is very good to memorize, then you don't need to always book. Just you can recite.
I find for me in the reading, and it's probably because of my mind, I get caught up in, like a definition is like a train, right? With cargo cars behind it. The definition, these are so long, it's like so many cars that I sometimes the caboose is attached to the locomotive again. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody very good. Yeah, good study. Slowly, not easy. Even you don't understand very well, but we make very strong, big impress. Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.